Oh, okay. It said 0 for a second, so I was a little confused because it looked like it wasn't actually recording. But now we're good. No shit.
Oh.
That's not how counting.
I'm sorry.
Now I gotta.
I didn't mess it up.
Oh, that's the mic? That's cool.
The fucking mic just started wobbling. It's gonna fucking fluctuate. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Road to Rise, where we are covering the entirety of the Skywalker series, leading up to the conclusion, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, coming out this Friday. Of course, we're seeing it Thursday.
We're special.
Yes, of course, us and like 6,000 other people. So, since we just covered the original trilogy, of course, we move on to the next trilogy that came out, the prequels.
Yeah. My favorite.
You know,
I like them.
Yay.
They're good.
yeah, you know, they're solid. They don't like compare at all critically to the original trilogy,
Doubtful.
but you know, of course, we still gotta cover them. The trilogy that talks about Anakin Skywalker and the fall of the Jedi, the rise of the Sith. So, without further ado, I think introductions are in order. Joining me today is the Golden Age of Gaming crew. We got Tyler.
Hi, guys.
We have TJ.
Hello there.
Returning again to talk about these movies here is Lizzie.
Hi.
And we got two relatively new people. Cole's been in the video before, but now he's here.
That'd be me.
And then for the first time ever, we got this guy. It's Dom.
You underestimate my power.
What power?
Don't try it.
You don't have it.
Anyway.
Okay.
So we are all going to be talking about the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Starting off with episode 1, the Phantom Menace. Oh boy. Let's talk about initial reactions. Tyler, what did you think?
Oh man, I thought we were going the other way.
Nope, sorry.
Initial reactions. Phantom Menace, out of all the prequels, is the one I like the least. Yes.
That's understandable. Fair enough.
That's the one I like the least.
Alright.
Rewatching it was still fun. The reason I like it the least is because like I don't really like the whole pod racing stuff. But like even after, because I always thought like that was majority of the movie. But like even just rewatching it today, it was like there was so much after that. Like there was a good chunk of time after the pod racing that was just, you know, politics and, you know, the back and forth. I feel like it's one of the slower paced movies. The Darth Maul fight was obviously great. It's probably the best part of the movie itself. And just, you know, going back, because this was the first prequel after the original saga, so it's nice to see young Annie, and, you know, it teases, you know, what he's going to become. Because you know what he becomes. And so, like, he has his moments, and then in the...
Tyler, this is the first movie. And
Yeah, how do we know exactly what he becomes? I don't understand.
Yeah, he was just a small boy that has powers.
Yeah.
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 I don't
I
understand.
believe the
What are
word you're looking for
midichlorians?
is midichlorians.
What are midichlorians?
We don't talk about the midichlorians.
Oh, but we will be.
Yes,
But
more
it's-
than Yoda.
It's nice to see how, you know, what he was destined to become, what he became, and, you know, even just the small, subtle things is like, whenever there was like hit like a darker note, it would start playing the Vader theme.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, because you know eventually where this is all going.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that in the next few prequels as it just leads into, you know, more intense stuff as we go on.
That's understandable. What did you think, Dom, of the Phantom Menace? Initial reactions after we just finished watching it again?
At first, well, before I just remembered them, I liked Phantom Menace. I liked all of them back then, but now rewatching it, I agree with Tyler that Phantom Menace was slow. It was definitely slow. It was like an up and down thing. Like, it was good, then it was boring, good. Like, seeing Annie and all that stuff, that was fun. Then I'm okay with politics because I know that's the main part in the prequels, and then because it's one of the big off points. So meeting Annie, pod racing, it started going down after that. Maul fight. That's all I really remember.
It was a good introductory to
Yeah.
the things that they're gonna explore in both Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Emotionally, where they take you.
I suppose.
Because you get to meet, his mother, which later down the line comes into a play.
I happen to disagree.
Oh, so what are your initial thoughts then?
I don't think it was the best introduction because you barely know anything about Annie, to be honest with you. The first Phantom Menace, you're introduced to this little boy that, he's a good pilot, he knows how to fix things and all that, but you don't see any real side of, there's no force in it, like, there's no really, like, I know what you mean.
It would be nice to get, like, a backstory of like,
just
the
like
whole
you don't
father
see the
situation
power
and how
that
The drive.
he didn't have a father.
Qui-Gon sees. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, did I
See,
say
this
that
is
wrong?
funny because
Qui-Gon.
now I disagree
Qui-Gon.
with you.
No! Oh my god!
Qui-Gon.
Quaker Oats. Obi-Wan's Jedi Master, Quaker
No,
Oats.
but I don't think you... I want to be able to see the power that he possibly has, but I couldn't see it.
Well,
I could just see a
he was
guy
only
that was
a small
talented
boy.
and
Alright,
good
alright,
at fixing
we-
stuff.
As much as I want to continue debating, we should get through the initials first.
He was a small boy.
I
That
don't
is
know.
true.
I don't think it was a good introduction.
I mean,
Okay,
the
so
Well,
then-
it had to start somewhere, and I think that
Yeah.
it wasn't horrible.
It wasn't
Like I
horrible,
said,
but
it
was-
starts. You meet people that you start to build relationships with later, and how
Yeah.
that affects all the other characters.
But
could have been
Annie
worse.
Yeah.
from the first one,
Could
to the
have been
second
done
one, you're
better,
like,
yes.
where the hell did
Yes.
this happen? So I wish there was a little bit more of a smaller gap in between that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I like the prequels a lot, so.
Oh,
The
So
Phantom
what do you-
Menace.
So you think... Okay.
It was good, but it was slow, like they said. So.
So what do you think then, TJ?
Alright, so, rewatching this, because last time I saw it was whenever this thing came to theaters in 3D.
I want to say like 2012.
It was
It had to be in...
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And again,
After
Ah!
they did the funny meme.
They did. Kill them.
Please.
I can't believe I thought
Kill
of
them.
that.
Anyway.
I actually like it better than I did.
Really?
before. Yes.
That's interesting.
That is a very interesting hot take.
Hot takes.
Yeah, hot takes from me, guys.
Wow.
You're gonna be seeing a few of those.
Oh boy.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I feel
Qui-Gon, I really like him. Pod race, I really like the pod race. Sorry, Tyler, I know you're not the biggest fan,
I think it was intense.
but I really
Yeah.
like it. Darth Maul, yes.
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 My second favorite Star Wars character. Granted, that's because of Clone Wars, but
The first being
Obi-Wan.
Obviously.
I can
He's
accept
in
that
this
answer.
less than I would have liked,
I was gonna say that,
just
but
because
I'll
he's
save that
not
for
like
now.
really there on Tatooine.
Did he
Yeah.
speak a word?
Was
I
that
don't
actually a
even think
question that
Qui-Gon
was
mentioned
asked?
his
Maul.
name until,
Yes,
like,
Maul spoke.
the end of the movie.
No, he said in the beginning.
He spoke to.
He said
Palpatine.
don't assume too much, my Obi-Wan, my young Padawan, or something like that when they were on the Trade
Because
Federation.
I remember like
ship.
an hour and a half in, and I heard his name. I was like, "Is that the first time they dropped
No.
his name?"
No, they say it like in the first 5-10
Yeah.
minutes.
It's like, right
So
in the
okay, so you like it better.
beginning. Yeah.
What do you think, Cole?
well, I
Post-
haven't exposed myself to the films, the prequel films, in a very long time. In fact, while we were watching it, I remarked on how I think that I have played the Lego Star Wars games more recently than I have seen
I
the
mean,
prequels.
understandable.
They were pretty good.
They were pretty good.
Watching The Phantom Menace again, actually for the whole prequel trilogy, I realized that the fun did not come from watching the movies. It was watching the movies with friends. Because I can guarantee you I would not have gotten 30 minutes into Phantom Menace if I was watching it alone.
That is a very good point. I
Yeah.
completely wow.
I think that the movie has a serious downfall because it can't decide whether or not it wants to take itself seriously or whether or not it wants to throw every joke it can think of at you.
Jar Jar.
Jar
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 Jar.
Binks
I was
is
gonna bring up him.
the perfect example of how to take that in the wrong direction. I understand that you're telling a serious story that's supposed to become a tragedy, but you want to have humor in there. Jar Jar Binks is the wrong way to take that humor, and honestly, it
I
takes me
think
out of
he's
the
worse in
movie
the next movie too.
every time you see it.
Than he
It's
is in the
just
Because he's
I completely agree.
Bottom of the box.
I completely agree with you.
Like, when TJ was saying that he liked it more, I was gonna say the same kind of thing, except for Jar Jar. I remember loving Jar Jar when I was younger, but now I'm like,
I was
annoying piece of
indifferent to him as a kid. I'm still kind of indifferent.
I can't stand him.
tell us
I
how
know
you
you
feel.
sigh
Brendan.
every time he's on
Please,
screen.
tell us how you
hate
really feel, Brendan.
Jar Jar.
I know you do.
I cannot stand. I've always hated this in any movie where it's like the character is so clumsy and stupid that it ends up benefiting him, and he has more skills than the people who actually are fighters. Like, are you serious? You're telling me that Jar Jar in the Phantom Menace had a droid stuck to his leg and managed to kill a droideka and a bunch of droids, but a bunch of Jedis on
he owes a
Geonosis.
life debt to that
But
droid.
a bunch of Jedis on Geonosis in an arena got wiped out like it was nothing.
Because they're all getting shot at simultaneously. Jar Jar
He was in
didn't
a
get shot
battlefield.
at.
He was in a battlefield.
He was.
Jar Jar was in the middle of a battlefield and started running towards the
It's
enemy.
Darth
How
Jar
did that
Jar,
make
dude.
no?
He's got
no.
the Force.
See, this is
Come
what.
on.
See, TJ, this is why your opinion of the prequels
He has
to me
double
is
jump.
so conflicting, because you see it as a meme and you think that's a good thing. It should not be a good
That's
thing. You don't
not-
look at
that's
the.
not
That is
necessarily-
totally what you think.
I'm just seeing Jar Jar as indifferent because I don't care.
How do you not care?
He's
like,
just kind of there.
kind of there.
Do you guys know the lore of Jar Jar?
No, I don't want to know
That
the
is not what
story.
this video
This
is
is not
about.
the time.
Regardless,
Jar Jar
the
lore.
main point in terms of
He's
my initial
dropping his
thoughts is
ink,
that
baby.
this movie, I do like the slightest bit more than before. But I hate Jar Jar. I can't stand any moment he's on screen. Natalie Portman in this movie, trash. I like.
You're not-
I like
you're not
Natalie
lying.
Portman so much, and she is so much better in Revenge of the Sith. But this
Everyone's
movie,
better in
but
Revenge
in
of the
this
Sith.
movie,
Get to
though,
Revenge of the
the way she was saying her lines, I don't know, and you mentioned it, Cole, too, and I was thinking the same thing, that it almost felt like it was ADR.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I will not let my people handle this, Senator.
It
like,
felt
it's
like
so bad.
it felt like
Andromeda.
they played the movie back for her and asked her to reimagine the emotions that she felt,
Exactly.
and she went. To be quite honest, I don't remember what this movie is
Yeah.
about.
All the Jedi and Sith stuff, I actually thought was really cool. I love Qui-Gon Jinn way more than I did before.
Yeah.
I like the dialogue, the banter that he has with Obi-Wan. Everything Duel of the Fates and Maul is awesome. I like the way they all, in the final lightsaber fight, the way they... I like the way they all kind of perceive ways of preparing for the fight when the barriers pop up. Qui-Gon wants to meditate because he believes in himself and the Force, and he's, ready for that whole situation. Darth Maul is like, he's eager, he's like ravenous, and he wants to attack. Obi-Wan, being a Padawan, is impatient and wants to help his master. It's three different ways of perceiving the same threat. And, it's really interesting to see it that way, because Qui-Gon has a level head the whole time. And then Obi-Wan, of course, he's sitting here and he even says, are we bringing another pathetic life form on board? And you're right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short. It's just, I love the different ways that they were playing off of each other. That's it. But that's towards the end of the movie. The movie itself was kind of boring. Everything Gungans, I hate them. Skin them all. Scalp them.
Stop
Get rid of
it.
them. I hate them so
The
much.
reason they had Gungans was to appeal
Yes,
the younger
I get
audience.
that. I get that completely.
But
I think the laser
Should not
swords
have been
did
as
that.
annoying.
I don't think they
Should
should
have
have done that.
Should not have been as annoying.
'Cause it's-
Pod racing was great though. I actually liked pod racing more this time
Yeah,
than I did.
Exactly,
I agree
that's
with
what I'm
that.
So
saying.
that's my initial thoughts of the Phantom Menace. I think the movie is only good when it's only the Jedi and the Sith on screen.
Or
And
pod racing.
That's
a side
kinda-
note though, I know that when this movie came out, Jake Lloyd, who plays Anakin,
poor
got
lad.
an absolutely unnecessary, ridiculous amount of hate to the point where every time he'd go to school, he was constantly bullied for his performance.
He's been
I
doing real
genuinely
rough.
didn't think he was that bad.
He wasn't as bad as
Honestly.
Natalie Portman.
No.
He just sounded like a really curious kid, which I have
Yeah.
no problem with.
It was
an
nothing
angel?
on. It was
Okay,
nothing
that was
on
a little
his
bit, but-
acting. It was just how the
Well,
movie
yeah,
turned
that
out,
too.
and everyone blamed it on him.
Exactly, and I completely it pushed him out of the spotlight. He didn't want to continue acting that much anymore. I'm pretty sure he stopped, and then I think he came back recently.
They're him and his mother have really bad relations because he says that his mother ruined his life because of that role.
It's so it's
sad to
so
hear.
annoying that Star Wars fans can be that ravenous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everyone in here knows my opinion of The Last Jedi. I can't stand that movie.
Yeah.
But I, in no way, shape, or form would criticize the actors for what it was.
No.
Like, no. Because I hated Rose, but I'm not blaming the actors for it. It's completely unnecessary to me.
Yeah.
Even if it was poorly acted, I think sending them death threats that they ruined your series is a little ridiculous. Like, calm down.
And it was also the first movie.
Exactly. I don't
This
understand why that was a thing, but nonetheless, it ended up being a thing, and
I didn't
whatever.
think he did bad.
No, I really didn't think it was that bad at all.
For a kid that young,
Yeah.
I
So
think he did good.
I mean, so that's interesting. You don't really care that much for the pod racing, Tyler.
It had its ups and downs.
Yeah, it had its ups and downs.
It's an okay movie. I wouldn't watch it again.
I
That's
used to
understandable.
hate pod racing, but that's only because I couldn't beat it in the Lego game.
Understandable.
The pod racing scene I find necessary only because it shows young Anakin's ingenuity and ability
Yeah.
to
Yes.
problem
And his
solve,
quick
adapt to
reflexes.
Yeah.
situations.
Well, yeah,
It helps introduce
and it
who
shows
you're
that
going
he's
to be watching.
yeah.
for
it
the
shows that
next-
he starts off in a place where he only, like, I mean, even his mother says he shows no greed because he does not know
Yeah.
what he doesn't have.
Exactly. And to piggyback off of that, it completely slipped my mind talking about Jar Jar was when you said that you two, or no, you thought that it wasn't a good introduction to Anakin,
Not
and
really.
I kind of I do disagree with that, because when Anakin was going to go be a Jedi, he automatically turned and let his fear get the best of him for like that
That's
quick
fair.
second. So you kind of understood where his motives were in the first place. He
Yeah.
wants to be a Jedi.
But
He
that
wants
was
to
that was
leave.
towards that was the end of the movie.
I think they
No,
could have
it wasn't.
introduced
It was
him
like-
a little bit better.
He automatically understand that he's selfless, that he cares about his family and his loved ones, and you know that unfortunately that's kind of how Palpatine got to him. Not kind of, it is.
And in
Yes,
front of
when-
the
'cause
council,
he didn't wanna leave,
they
'cause
were
he-
like,
Yes, and because he
Yeah.
was super afraid of his
That's
mom getting
fair.
hurt, and he said that he didn't want to go. He said that he didn't want to do it, that he wanted to stay with her and stuff like that. I think that's a good introduction because he keeps that same character
through the next two.
motivational like arc throughout the whole thing. He is always
Yeah.
trying to save someone, and it gets the best of him.
It does.
And
He
of
cares
course,
too
that leads to fear, and fear leads to the dark side. So I actually think it's a decent introduction to hit.
It's not the best that it could have been. I wish I just saw more of like his decision making. And
like
I don't know.
I
There
mean,
was
I
just-
guess I think
just
he was
need
too young
more.
for that. I think
I know, but but going
wanna see him
from
come into
what,
his own.
9
There's
years
also not
old
much.
to
He was
what?
a slave. You know what I mean?
From 9 years old to how old was he?
Probably 15. Have to be, right? Like 15, 19,
And
something
what,
like that. I don't know.
clones?
Clones, yeah. Listen, if
That
Padme was
10
supposed
years
to be...
later.
It
I was gonna
was?
say it was 10 years
Oh,
later.
okay.
So he'd be like
So-
Because I was
19.
going to say, if Padme was 14 in the
I
Phantom
just
Menace,
wanted
I
to
wouldn't be
see that
surprised if he
growth
was
more.
14 or something. And
She was 14.
yes, apparently.
Yeah, it would make sense because in the New Hope, Obi-Wan's old as hell when the Empire's reign was only 20 years. So
That's true.
So
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's
know.
like in his 50s or
Yeah.
40s.
I just wanted, if there was a better introduction, it would have been like seeing him grow a little bit longer over time,
Yeah.
not just jumping from 9 to 19 years old.
All
I
right,
don't
then.
know.
So, I guess, sort of, keeping the pace going a little bit, in terms of, like, a score, from 1 Gungan to 10 Darth Maul Duel of the Fates lightsaber battles, what would you rate the Phantom Menace, Tyler?
6.5.
6.5, okay. And what would you rate it, Dom?
5 because half of it was boring politics. The other half, well, not just politics, but obviously other things, and the other half was cool things, really good things, building up things.
Understandable. And you, Lizzie?
I was gonna say around like 6.5 too.
Understandable. TJ?
I'll give it a 6.
Okay. Cole?
This movie's sitting at a solid 4 out of 10.
I knew that was coming.
To piggyback off that, because I was really hoping someone would go less than 5, I'm gonna give it a 4 as well.
Yeah, it's...
This movie, I don't think I'm ever going to watch again. And if I do watch it, it's going to be specific bits, and those specific bits being Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's it, really.
Yeah.
So that's where we all sit with Phantom Menace. We all just think it's the most average
could have
it's
been
not that
Could have
great.
been better. Exactly.
It could have been so much better.
half of it's good, the other half is just slow and boring.
It's
Yeah.
slow.
Also, extremely random factoid, but I forgot to say this when we were watching it. The waterfalls on Naboo were made by them pouring salt.
Oh yeah, I
Very
did hear about
interesting.
that.
It's
did not
like
know that.
like it actually it's really cool. They
That
just like
sounds cool.
in a pitch black like room, they put a light right where the salt would be, and they poured it out, and it looks like a waterfall and like the mist and stuff. So
Oh,
that's all
wow.
the stuff that you see. They do that in Attack of the Clones as well. So
Speaking
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 of
of-
speak of the devil.
Whoa.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Anakin, is a Padawan. Obi-Wan has, of course, kind of gotten over trying to overcome the grief of Qui-Gon Jinn's death in the first movie. And now has to start training Anakin. And he's rowdy, he's impatient, he's really everything a Padawan really is, honestly. At this point, like every single one of them are all, swear the same.
And like Yoda said that they're all getting more arrogant as time
Yeah.
goes on.
So, let's get into this can of worms. What did you think, Tyler? Your initial thoughts of this?
I
film.
like this one. I actually like this one the second the most. That's the way I'm gonna say that.
What? Wait, time out. What?
No. We'll leave that
Yes.
completely open
The
to
second the most.
interpretation.
Do you like this the second the most?
Yeah. So
There's only 3.
there's not like what was the other one I was talking about? Like Empire. There wasn't a single part in this movie that bored me. I stayed interested the whole time. More lightsaber battles for one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not the best action scenes, but it's something.
I suppose.
We get something.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Obi-Wan looks great. I like Obi-Wan.
His Jesus
His
look.
beard,
yeah.
yes.
Love it.
And I hope that's the route they're going to go for the Disney Plus series. Just maybe a
No.
little bit older.
Is this him with a mullet?
Yeah, he definitely won a
It's-
mullet.
he
He'll
will
have
have
the
Oh,
same
not like
hair
that,
as
but
Or
Revenge.
like beard
It's
and like
after.
Oh, he'll
robes
still look
and
the-
stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he'll
the
be-
same general overlook.
He'll look
But,
like Revenge of the Sith.
It was also the, things really started to get heated up between Padme and
Hell yeah!
I'm a sucker for love stories, so I really enjoyed this film for that, and it only gets better. It was actually one line that I forgot about in this one, which was totally caught me off surprise, is right before they go into the arena when they all get captured during the whole
What are you talking about?
the scene,
what are you
and then
talking
she
about?
looks over at him before they go in, and like he expressed how he felt, but she,
Oh.
he was always like, oh, whatever you want to do. He's like, if we can't do this, then that's fine. But then she looks over at him. He's like, but if we're about to die, and like basically like, ever since you came back to my life, I've been dying every moment. And I'm like,
And then she goes, I love you. And
Yes.
he's like, I thought we promised to not fall in love or
fall in
something.
love. And he's
I
like,
was
yeah, but if we're
Okay,
and he's like,
alright.
yeah, but if we're
We
about
don't
to
need
die, then I want you to know. And I'm like,
that
See,
scene
the
didn't
waterworks
get me the most,
here
though.
are truly
So,
full blast.
Those are your
and then
thoughts
she
then?
saves him, and she jumps on and gives him the kiss on the cheek as she jumps on the back of the whatever the
Oh,
hell
my.
that
With
animal's
her
called.
very open
Ogdo
dress.
Bogdo.
I wasn't even gonna
Like I
think
said,
romance right now.
strategically exposed midriff.
Yeah. All right. So
Okay.
what about you, Dom?
I liked it. I don't like it as much as Tyler, but still the same. I think it's better than Phantom Menace. So the Anakin Padme thing. That seems like two lovers who've never seen another opposite gender of each other.
Oh my god.
This is their first
It's a
time
cute
meeting the
love story.
opposite gender, and they
I've
have
been
no
waiting
idea
for
how
this.
to act, and it's hilarious.
I'm gonna destroy this.
So yeah, for me personally, the Clone Wars era, my absolute favorite. I just like it better than the originals. I'm not saying I like the prequel movies better than the originals.
But the Clone Wars show.
The era, I love the era more than
So
any
pretty
other.
much.
I can
show
understand
and
that
Revenge
because
of the
to be fair, I do like the era of the Clone Wars more than the Galactic Civil War.
So, and when you guys were talking about doesn't matter. Anyway, as soon as the clones were introduced, like Obi-Wan was trying to find Kamino, as soon as that happened, things started ramping up and it got more interesting. I love the clones. I'm not
love
a total fan anymore of their Phase 1 armor. I'm more of a fan of their Phase 2. I just think it looks cooler, bulkier. I like that more. So I like seeing that in Revenge of the Sith. But I just like seeing the clones. Clones are badass. Other than that, Anakin, when I was hearing, I listened to past reviews on things, and then people saying that Anakin sounds like a psychopath. I see it now because I've rewatched it.
Yeah.
Anakin's weird phrasing of "your kiss we never should have had left a scar in my heart." Me personally, I don't see the romance in saying that they felt agony every time they're with each other. Every time I see you, I'm in agony.
I don't know. I like that.
So that's
You're
okay.
just a weirdo.
To me personally, I don't see that. I don't get that. So yeah. So
He's suffering because he knows it's something that isn't supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to love. It's forbidden.
I know,
as a Jedi.
I know the parts that I don't like about the movie that I just think are boring was them hunting down the assassinator. The assassin.
Assassin.
The bounty hunter?
You mean the
bounty hunter.
The bounty
Jango
hunter. I didn't like them going after and catching. I thought that was boring
About what?
and drawn.
When they were chasing down the changeling.
What do you mean? Obi-Wan yeets himself out a window.
Okay, that was funny.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
funny.
funny.
Great.
But I just, to me, I just thought that was like long and drawn out, and also Anakin saying, "I think she doesn't like me watching her."
No.
I sense it too.
That one, and there was another part that I didn't really like, but I don't remember, so that'll be the end of my turn.
What about you, Lizzie? What do you think of Attack?
I like it more than Phantom Menace. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of action.
It's
A lot
progressively
more
better.
action. Yeah. Don't think Natalie Portman acted any better, really, to be honest with you. And now looking back and watching the series again, the romance isn't as romantic as it should be. I shouldn't be feeling like I shouldn't want them together as much as I do because the romantic scenes together are so cringy that I really should not like them together as much as I do. When you're like, oh my god, like this is like perfect romance.
That's just
Absolutely
not it.
not.
It's not it.
Absolutely not. But like again, I love Padme and Anakin together. It's just the romance is so they could have done so much better. One time, I remember there's one scene where he's like, sand is so soft or something is
So
soft.
you're really gonna
Sands.
mess up the sand?
It's coarse.
No.
rough,
I don't know if it was
irritating,
about the sand, but
and
he
it
was
gets
like
everywhere.
he
And
was
then
like
goes,
something about
everything-
soft.
Not like
everything
here.
here, so smooth.
Smooth,
It's like-
whatever, and then he
Yeah,
awkwardly
he's like, he's doing
like
this really
hesitates
weird,
to touch her, and it's just like I just got chills down my back. So I mean, as much as I want like ship them together, and I
wanted
know
it.
that they're gonna be together, it's really cringy. And yeah, that's all I really have. I mean, Anakin.
And the other captain was talking to Obi-Wan, and he was like, oh, I hope he doesn't do anything foolish. And he's like, I'd be more worried about her. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is a whole other
I
side of
don't
the
know.
story we don't even know.
Like, you guys know
I
that I
don't
like
think that was the
romance and
context
stuff like
he was
that.
referring
But
to.
Don't look at me that way. It makes me uncomfortable.
he was chosen because he has a little psycho in him. Or like he just has
That's
that
not
darkness.
I guess it doesn't have to be like
He
that.
does
No!
still technically bring balance to the Force, just a lot later
Yes.
than what they thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the overall view that they're trying
But
to
you
aim
start-
for when they were doing the prequels. Like, eventually, this
He-
makes sense.
He is the one to bring balance to the Force.
You just gotta
It's just
kill everybody first.
just a few young ones.
But you do start to see Anakin start to go against what he's told. And you start to see him slowly become
Defy.
yes,
Yeah.
what he's going to be in the next movie. So yes, that's it.
Next,
Oh, boy.
what do you think, TJ?
Okay. Anakin in this movie, no thanks.
Ew.
Padme in this movie.
What are you?
No,
are you
not
Lion King?
interested.
Okay, I apparently have a very hot take on this, but I'll wait
The
my
mid
turn.
drift was fun.
Obi-Wan. Yeah. Jango Fett. Yeah. He's
No.
better than Boba Fett.
The Aussie, sure.
Jango is better than Boba Fett. I'm
Both of
sorry.
them suck. We know which one's better.
Mandalorian,
Goddamn
yes.
right.
We all know.
He took off his helmet. It doesn't count anymore.
What? He didn't take it off in front of a person, though.
There was a whole scene where his
they
armor
do
was
still
off.
have to wear the helmet.
Wait, and what?
He's
Mandalorian
oh.
culture, you cannot
Yes.
take
Oh,
off
no,
the
no, no.
helmet.
I
talking
thought
about
you were talking about
Jango
the
Fett.
show.
Oh, no.
Never
Jango
mind. My
Fett
bad.
first
My
took
bad.
the-
My
the-
bad.
Well, he did take it. Well,
Not in front
No.
of people, though.
I mean, he stood in the
yeah,
doorway
there were
though.
people.
Did
There
he?
were people.
Anyways,
Yeah,
Cole's
that's a
not
separate
caught up,
thing.
so just in case. Geonosis liked most of that.
Oh, I hear that you actually know how to speak Geonosian, don't you?
No, actually.
No. You do a great impression.
Do it.
don't
Yeah,
you?
do it.
You can't just put me on the spot like this. There it is, folks.
What?
You got to do the
the
clicking
hell?
too. You got to do the clicking. They're like,
Gotta do the
I can't even do it.
That's possible.
We don't ever talk about that trash. We don't do that here.
no, I.
Nixon.
Count Dooku, he was
There.
all right. I mean, the final battle in terms of Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Dooku,
He completely spoiled
It's-
Revenge of the Sith.
what?
Saying that the Republic was gonna fall from the inside.
Oh,
He completely spoiled
yeah,
it.
Dooku literally just tells Obi-Wan the entire plan, and Obi-Wan just like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, because he wanted Obi-Wan to join him in Sidious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yoda
then-
told
That is a
didn't work
canon
out.
to
thing.
believe it.
Yeah, because Sidious
Obi-Wan
was like,
was
he's
not
too old. He's been corrupted by the Jedi.
Oh, I love that.
So, yeah, this movie is okay. I don't know. I feel like I like it less now than I used to.
Wow.
Understandable.
Very
So-
long.
So then, what do you think, Hall? What's your hot take? Please
Yeah,
tell me, because
here
I
we-
think you and I
fasten
are
your
kind of on the same
seatbelts.
page, and I'm happy with this.
Unfortunately, this movie suffers from sequelitis, as I call it. You make a movie as big as Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, then you come out with a sequel. Everyone's expectations are through the roof, and they rush it out, and it's not quite what people want it to be. And I think that that's because Attack of the Clones is tasked with really an impossible task. They have to bridge the gap between the events of the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith, which is just a lot of exposition and a lot of setting up of a lot of plans, and they somehow have to make it entertaining when inherently it isn't. So that really doesn't work in their favor. I think that the movie tries to do a lot of things really good by having the mystery subplot of who Jango Fett is, who the assassin is, and having Obi-Wan play that out and figuring out who the clones are. And I think that subplot was unraveled really well, actually.
That's a good part.
And I think that's what is really... Like, if you were to ask me what Attack of the Clones was about, that would probably be the subplot. They're the plot that I'd start
The
off
whole
with.
Camino section was just great.
Because
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. Hayden Christensen makes his first debut
Woo!
as Anakin.
What a babe.
We
Oh
could
my
sit
God.
here and debate all day on the legitimacy of his performance. While I do not think that it was by any means noteworthy, I think that he gets a lot more crap for it than he deserves.
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
very true.
Because
Definitely.
I think that Hayden Christensen is able to get you to love to hate Anakin just the right amount. Because you fall in love with him in this Romeo and Juliet twisted type story where it's this forbidden love story and you want to root for them, but you also want Anakin to go down his own path but you know he's not gonna. And you see how lost Anakin is on his own, and how he's able to only make the decisions a Jedi would when he's around Padme. And I think that the subtlety of that is very important to the film, but it goes vastly unnoticed by a lot of critics who just say that Hayden Christensen's performance was subpar, which it was.
That's a valid point.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I also have a lot of respect for all the special effects people that worked on this movie,
Oh yeah.
but can someone just explain to me the logic behind the Count Dooku and Anakin fight in the dark? Because it literally just looked like somebody was flashing strobe lights,
The whirlwind
Yeah.
sprint too.
and
Oh.
it just didn't fly with me.
We've only seen that once in this whole franchise, right?
Yep, and
The
Obi-Wan couldn't use
the
it.
Jedi super speed.
Yeah.
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 I thought
One
that was
time
like
in this
Phantom-
whole franchise.
Yeah,
and
it was only
for a
one,
split
yeah.
second.
Yeah, it was. Come on, let's get out of here. Gone.
So before we get to the ratings, though, what do you think, Brendan?
This movie sucks.
Alright.
I thought the Camino stuff was good until Obi-Wan fought Jango Fett. That was
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
The fact that Boba was consistently shooting him and blowing up Obi-Wan, and he was engulfed in flames, and all you see is he's like getting bounced around like a goddamn ping pong ball. What?
He just kept
What?
kicking him.
And then, like, not only that, the Yoda and Dooku fight, that was not good. Okay? Because half the time, Yoda's lightsaber is way too short, and Dooku's doesn't reach it, but they still make the sound in the clash anyway, even though you can clearly see both of them are not touching. And, like, Dooku's like, ha-ha, and Yoda's like, ha, and there's nothing connecting, but you still hear the clash. That's not good. I thought the fights were terribly choreographed. I thought the cinematography for the fights was not good. I didn't like any of that. The whole point, the title of the movie, Attack of the Clones, that doesn't happen until like halfway through it, and like we barely see the clones. It was like the climax, and that was it. Like, haha, look at us with the clones. Haha, you're gonna see us for the rest of the movie, and we have a whole show about it. Haha. No, it was boring. This whole movie was boring. The love, the banter between those two, Anakin and Padme, awful, so bad. The chemistry between those two was terrible. I don't like their relationship at all, and I thought it was incredibly forced because really all Anakin kept saying the whole time was, "I haven't seen her in 10 years. I haven't seen her in 10 years. Wow, she hasn't changed in 10 years. 10 years, Obi-Wan. Oh my God, I'm sweating because it's been 10 years.
How many?
10. It's like we needed a refresher every time. Like, yes, thank you. We know that this is a 10-year time jump. Thank you, filmmakers. I do agree with you about Hayden Christensen's acting. There were some parts I genuinely thought were good. When Padme falls out of the gunship on their way to fighting Dooku,
Absolutely, yes.
and he turns around and goes to the pilot, he says something along the lines of like "turn the ship around" or something like that.
I think he says land the ship.
That
It's a very simple
I
line.
thought was actually performed extremely well. It was like his fear of losing Padme and then like his anger to kind of counteract that. That was really good, and I pointed that out when we were watching the movie anyway. I was like, that was good.
Yeah.
And then it kept going, and I was like,
When he's angry or like frustrated, I think he's a lot better.
True,
Then
but
when
I
he
also have
just-
to unfortunately blame the writing, because the way I see it, and I know some people have brought this up too in like separate videos and all that stuff, George Lucas, he has a really hard time trying to find a way to convey what the characters are thinking without actually saying it. Because, like, think about it. You got movies where, like, if there's, like, tension between two people, all you need is a couple glances, and you can immediately understand that tension.
George Lucas spells the subtext out
Exactly.
instead of letting his
Exactly.
audience figure it out.
Like, I mean, of course, this is in, like, Revenge of the Sith, but that example being, the "you're so beautiful only because I'm so in love" thing. You don't say that. We know that you're in love. Like, I don't know.
Just
like,
the
there's
way-
just no,
if
there's
he
no
just
point
looked
in
at
bringing
her.
that up.
The way he looked
Like,
at her was enough.
Exactly.
What do you-
There's
you
no
didn't need to
chemistry
say that
between the
nasty
two.
thing.
Han and Leia in both New Hope and Empire, awesome. Love their chemistry. Could believe it immediately that they were in love with each other. This, on the other hand, it was like terrible. I don't like. And even though I'm like trashing this movie right now, I still somehow like it more than Phantom. I don't know. I disagree with you, TJ. I think Dooku is really good. I like his form of, because he's like someone we've never seen before. Because all the Sith Lords are all like the typical vile, like, I'm a bad guy, electricity, and then you got like Vader that's just like I'm the bad guy. Maul is the guy with the horns, but then like Dooku comes in and it's a completely different change of pace because he's like no, this shouldn't have happened.
He looks normal.
He's like this should have never come to this. I wish that you and I had met before. Like, I don't know. He just seemed a lot more like
classy
of a human Sith in a way. Because like Palpatine is like cartoonishly evil, but I mean that's not a problem. But like Dooku, I don't know. It's nice to have that contrast because you got one that's just sitting there like unlimited power, and the other one is just like I want the Republic to stay, but there needs to be some regulations and
there's just
like,
different like takes on evil.
Yeah, and I actually really like Dooku for it, and I wish he was actually in the
In
series
it
more. Obviously, he is in the Clone Wars.
A lot.
But I mean Christopher Lee, because I think Christopher Lee is awesome, and I wish that he was in the prequels more. Like, I don't know if he was somehow, some way introduced earlier. A lot of the Naboo stuff, I don't like, and of course that still fits in with the whole love thing, so, whatever. But yeah, that's really how I see it. This movie is just kind of not good, in my opinion. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it. So in regards to scores, what would you give it, Tyler?
7.
7. All right then, Dom.
6 or 7, just 6.5.
Lizzie.
I was gonna say 7.5, 8.
Okay.
What's your opinion?
TJ.
It's a 5. I used to like this more than Phantom Menace. Not anymore. I mean, I can still rewatch it and be fine.
Alone.
Unlike,
Brendan's shaking his
unlike,
head no.
There's only one Star Wars movie I cannot.
I think this is the only Star Wars movie
You haven't seen
aside
that
from.
I'd skip past
Oh, yeah.
Nah,
that's
I saw it, and it's something.
What do you think, Cole?
I think that this one has just a slight edge up on Phantom
I think we're
Menace
gonna have the same score again.
than me. If we're doing halves, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'd round it up closer to a 5. I think that this is the bare minimum of a Star Wars movie. It shouldn't get worse than this.
No,
And
but it
It
did.
did.
It did,
Yep.
unfortunately. It
yeah.
started out worse than this.
Yeah, that is true. No, I do completely agree. I think it is a 4.5. This movie and Phantom, I don't want to watch again. Phantom, I don't know. I could barely sit through that one. Attack of the Clones, I checked my phone more times than I wanted to.
Yeah.
You guys got on the hate wagon about Jar Jar too early, I think. Jar Jar
Okay, because I didn't realize how cringy he was.
I think he was worse
immediately.
in this movie, in Attack of the Clones, than he was, because this time, like Dom said, he was in a place of power. And the amount of screen time he got, and the amount of stupid stuff he would just do, and they let him do,
Yeah.
it
No,
was
I-
like,
that you be senator.
it was insane
No,
how much
I
screen
don't
time
know.
he got.
I said that I thought the same thing in the Phantom Menace.
And it's like any
Like-
screen time he did get, it was the same bit over and over again.
You know what? I realized that, like, when watching it with other people, that you kind of base it on what everyone else think. Like, I didn't, like, watching it by myself, I didn't hate Jar Jar. I thought he was just kind of annoying, But as your reactions kept, like, getting worse and worse almost. Brendan over here, like, not even looking when Jar Jar was on the
Sighing,
screen.
Just wishing he was
Sighing.
dead every
I
time
can't.
he was on
Like,
screen.
it was just-
I really
I don't
can't.
know.
I hate
Eh.
super stupid characters with their whole sole purpose being incredibly stupid.
I completely
I
agree.
can't stand that, because if that's the case, yeah.
The character has no sustenance. It's just
No.
an archetype.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hate it. It honestly, you could put Jar Jar in a Three Stooges episode, and he'd fit. That's the problem with it. But this isn't.
I
Three
agree
Stooges,
that there
this
were
is
a
Star
lot
Wars.
of dumb parts.
So yeah, I'm flat out giving it a 4.5, and I don't think I'm ever gonna watch 1 or 2 again. That being said, though, let's talk about the watchable prequel.
Good prequel.
I'll
The best Star Wars movie? Whoa, did I say
Okay.
that?
I'd
get
say
there.
that. I'd say that.
Did I say that?
So yes, now we are
For
on
now.
episode 3, Revenge of the
2
Sith,
days.
released in 2005. This is the
Really?
Yeah.
the big one. This is the one that everyone's been waiting for, really, since the Phantom Menace came out. Everyone just wanted automatically the one that Anakin turns into Vader.
Yep.
And everyone's waiting for that moment, and that's what had a lot of hype surrounding this movie, probably more than Phantom Menace, because this is when we finally get to see it. We get to see Sidious, we get to see Anakin, and how the Jedi Order falls apart, and how the Sith rise to power,
And who is?
and
Yeah.
and
Wow, I couldn't
it's
tell
it's
who it
it's
was.
excellent.
Somehow they couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah. So let's talk about the initial thoughts of this one, because I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more to talk about this movie than the other two not great ones. So Tyler, what is your initial reaction to
3,
Revenge of the Sith?
growing up, 3 was always my favorite of the prequels. And to this day, nothing's changed. Growing up, or before we watched it, this is like the most memeable one. This is where like the most memes spawned. There's so many moments in this movie, along with the bad acting, because the acting was subpar. But even just rewatching it today, it's like Cole said earlier when we were talking about Attack of the Clones, is I didn't really mind it this time around. It's like I'm kind of used to it, and I kind of just accept it for what it is, and I like it.
Yeah.
Could it have been better? Yeah, it could have been way better. But I kind of just like it for what it is, and I think it kind of just worked.
Understandable.
The whole Obi-Wan, the Mustafar scene at the end, great. It's probably one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. Trying to think. I'm sure you guys will remind me of stuff as you guys talk, and I'll start piggybacking.
No,
Yeah, we can come back.
It's
to
hard
that.
because there was so much going on in this.
Yeah. So what do you think then, Dom, of Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the Sith?
I really liked it. I always now still rewatch the Order 66 scene, because I'm not a psychopath, but it was great.
Executed.
I loved the music, and then just the fall of everything. Like this great republic, and then after just a few words,
everything turned.
everything stops.
Yeah.
And in every scene they did that too. It was like, either a hologram showed up saying Exit 66, or when they were on the speeders and they went like this to the helmets and like to the side, like, yep, okay, we got it, and they pulled up into the back and then started shooting the person in front of them. Yeah.
So for this one, this is kind of mostly for all of them, but especially this one, Anakin was a lot more malleable to everyone. Like when they were saving the Chancellor, Anakin could have easily saved Dooku, because he seemed like he could be negotiated with.
Yeah.
Because
he would probably be the only Sith Lord you could
Yeah.
negotiate with.
To me, I feel like Dooku's like the Sith version of Obi-Wan. You can talk to him without
Getting annihilated.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to fear as much. But he is still a Sith, so obviously you never know.
Yeah.
So, but like, Anakin could have easily stopped. He's old enough to know that, hey, this probably ain't the Jedi way. Even though he is this big bad guy, it's not the Jedi way. But Palp was like, no, do it. And then he did it, and it was so easy because his master was knocked out. And then Palpatine was saying, no, leave him. And then Anakin... I'm glad Anakin defied him, because that means he showed that he could think on his own, and which kind of counteracts that whole Dooku thing. So
Yeah, don't worry about it.
he had no arms. What the could he do? Speaking of which, loved at the end of this movie getting the kill counter of arms/hands and legs. So far, the total number of the Skywalker saga at this point is 15 arms/hands and 4 legs.
Well,
Feel free to correct us in the comments.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, nothing has changed.
Please have more
in
time
regards
than
to
us.
that number. Nothing. Yeah.
When I rewatch these with my friend, I will have to warn them that hands being gone is common here.
Yeah, understandable.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Then the politics here I liked because obviously it's starting to ramp up now. Plans are starting to be
The
initiated.
fall of the order.
Yeah.
Fallen Order?
That's what.
That's a good game. It's a good game. And you didn't want to play it.
Nope.
Besides the
Still
point.
do, but don't.
That's a different video. Then, what was it? Yeah. Then I
Yeah.
lost my train of thought. The Mustafar scene, I thought that was great. If I was Obi-Wan, I would have waited until Padme and Anakin were not talking anymore, because as soon as Anakin saw Obi-Wan, he got pissed.
Yeah.
Also, if Obi-Wan stayed at like their place, what would have happened? And Padme just went, just thinking the possibilities of what could have happened there. I liked seeing Obi-Wan's character saying to Master Yoda, it's like, I won't kill Anakin, he's like a brother to me, and him not doing that, but still fighting him because he had to. Like he said, I will do what I must, but he didn't have the courage enough to finish him off. Which, I liked seeing that in his character.
It's not the Jedi way.
It's not the Jedi way.
But he left them to burn, so.
Well, to be fair, he had to kill.
He had to do it, but
Yeah.
he didn't have the courage enough to finish him off. because-
Although, to be fair, I mean, if you see him completely engulfed in flame and next to lava, do you really think he's coming back?
No.
Exactly. If he was
It's
left
like,
there,
if I was in Obi-Wan's shoes, I'd probably safely assume you're dead and just
So why
walk
do
away.
it anyway?
Well, it also
Well,
takes the blame off of him. He can have deniability now that he's not the
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
that killed Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalker.
He didn't only that,
in the
he
first place,
assumed
he didn't
that-
want to kill him.
Yeah, and he did assume
told
that
Yoda
Yoda
that
was
too.
fighting
He's like, I can't.
Sidious too, so no one was going to come to his aid. Because, yeah, Obi-Wan didn't know, whatever.
Personally, this is just me, I thought the Yoda versus Emperor kind of boring. That's just me, because it, like, I don't know, because it's mostly just force uses.
And
They're
flips.
just throwing things around at each other. I thought that was boring to me, but versus the Anakin versus Obi-Wan, it's all lightsabers, and then one or two times they use the force besides force jumps. So yeah, that's mine.
Well, you got everything in there. So I at first, when watching this for the first time ever before, I did not like Revenge of the Sith. Only because I am a sap for love stories. And I was like, no, they gotta end up together, what the heck? But rewatching it last week and tonight,
But I think that's also what makes it a good movie is, it didn't end up, and if it can evoke that kind of emotion out of you in the first place, then, it definitely,
yeah, but now
Tug
it's
at
one
your
of my
heartstrings.
favorites.
exactly, yeah.
But it's just unfortunate because every time I watch it, I just hope that
You can
it doesn't
change it.
end up that way.
Yeah.
But throughout the whole thing, you see Hayden Christensen,
Yep.
first off, a lot better than the other,
Attack of the Clones.
yeah.
I remember, I looked over,
A
and
lot
when they were
better.
showing Mustafar just a planet in orbit for the first time, I heard you sigh, and I'm like, she knows what's about to happen, that's why.
Well, yeah, I've seen it so many times. But, I don't know, you see Anakin start to be more rebellious. And I don't know, it's hard to watch him slowly go to the dark side. For me, personally, I grow to like Anakin so much that it's really hard to watch this. Only because you know where he's going.
Yeah.
And you can't stop him.
Where is Padme? Is she safe?
But, I also really like, first, Obi-Wan being defeated in the beginning, you start to realize, oh, well, Anakin's not off to a good start. He killed Dooku when he didn't need... He didn't need to kill Dooku. So then you see that, and then you see the council start to, not trust Anakin, and you start to see the council not trust Palpatine, and you know something's gonna go on. So when you see both of, Palpatine and Anakin start to connect more, you know something's not
And
gonna
it was
go
Palpatine
right.
who kind of pressured him into killing Dooku too.
Yeah, he was like, "Good, Anakin."
Yeah.
Good.
He's like, no, I shouldn't. It wouldn't be the Jedi way.
Brendan
and he's
would
like,
do that
yeah,
better,
but you
but-
want revenge.
Yeah, he took
He's
off
like,
your
he
arm.
took off your arm. You want revenge.
But I'm gonna have to disagree with Dom that Palpatine and Yoda had. I don't know. I did like that battle because
It was an alright battle.
I don't know what you're dabbing, but okay. No, so I really liked it because you see that he's a very strong Sith, and I don't know. I just think that Yoda is one of the stronger. He's probably one of the strongest Jedi, I feel. And when they're both going,
Not when it comes to midichlorians.
okay, but when they're both facing each other and you see Yoda fall, and Yoda, I believe, makes a statement saying "I failed" or something.
Failed. I have.
And it's just like, it's just showing that, yeah, we really don't have much of a chance against this Sith because he's so powerful.
Until you get a new
But then he becomes a hermit, and then he's the best.
Oh yeah, I love him in Empire.
And then you see Anakin and Windu like start to have that tension, and you know that he's gonna choose Palpatine over him, and it's just, I don't know, it's just a really good movie because there's so much going on and there's so many like underlying conflicts, and I don't know, I just really love it. And unfortunately, no matter how many times we watch it, it won't change. Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and it makes
What?
me cry.
Oh
Oh my! I'm sorry.
I can't believe.
You have to cut that one out.
You know what?
I can't spoil.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We're done
I
here.
can't believe
And
this.
Padme dies, and then at the end,
Okay,
Stop!
okay.
and at the end, Luke and Leia like, split up.
Oh
And
my.
I really like the ending though. Like when you hear the music so strong with Luke, you know, like the ending, and you see the horizon.
The binary sunset.
It's beautiful, and the music is just like, it's so perfect. But anyway, that's just everything.
add some stuff.
We'll get
Okay,
to
sorry.
first. No, it's fine. TJ,
All right.
since I know
Now that they've talked about everything in the film, it's now my chance to talk about
I
my
can talk
favorite
about every-
film ever made.
There's still 2 points I forgot.
yeah.
I'll probably
I
get.
love every second of this film. That's not true. I don't like Yoda's nails scratching on the set it thing when he's falling.
I hate that
No
too.
thanks. But other than that, I love this movie so much. In particular, the first 20 minutes when they're rescuing Chancellor Palpatine. Ooh, it's so good. It's the best. Anakin and Obi-Wan, when they're together, working together in that, it's too good. Their banter, it's actually funny.
Yeah.
Especially the no loose wire jokes, right? He's trying. I didn't say anything.
Did I say anything? I didn't say anything.
So good. R2, he's murdering people in this.
What?
He's a mass
Burned
murdering
two
psychopath.
two
Oh,
super
he
battle
did.
droids.
He did.
Then he also became a friggin' psychotic killing machine
Yup,
in the cockpit of
course.
the
Oh yeah.
Republic fighter.
Yep.
General
Or the Separatist
Grievous. I really like Grievous. I know, like, sure, he's just kind of bland cyborg guy. He's got some lightsabers. I think he's cool. I like his fight with Obi-Wan.
The way he dies is dramatic. Like how he has like fire and.
It's uncivilized, Lizzie. Come on.
So uncivilized. Anyway.
The whole failure of the Jedi Council and pretty much every decision they make in this movie. They don't make any good decisions. And Palpatine just completely benefits from that. And he's, like, one of the best parts of the movie. Obi-Wan and Palpatine, easily the best. Anakin versus Obi-Wan? Best lightsaber fight? Am I offending anyone by
No.
saying this?
No.
Other
No.
than you.
Well
No,
choreographed.
no, I can see why. It's up there. But I
know
personally
you like
it's-
Luke and Vader.
What would have happened if Anakin had the high ground?
We can't.
Well, you
listen,
see, Obi-Wan
Obi-Wan has already done it.
he did
Yeah.
that trick against Maul. That's why he knew what Anakin was gonna do and cut him down.
Yeah.
And you even told him not to do it.
He tried,
Oh.
Yeah.
but Anakin's arrogance blinded him.
Nothing
I
will stop
know.
it, Lizzie, nothing.
You know what blinded him? Love.
No.
Continue,
God.
TJ, with your reaction.
Why do you have to ruin this, Lizzie? God.
Because for the most part, he was fine. Like even at the end, when like he was like, what Anakin to the Emperor was like, the dark side of the Force and stuff like that. He's like, I should turn you in. But it was really the only thing that kept him going was him wanting the power to keep his loved one alive.
That the Jedi
Yeah.
Council was practically beating him down the entire movie, not granting him the rank of rank of Master,
But
not
that's
trusting him with Palpatine.
Mm-hmm. But I mean,
Pretty
he
much
did
just
tell.
dismissing everything he
So-
says while he's in the council. Especially Mace Windu. He just
Yeah.
disrespects Anakin to no end.
He didn't even like him. He hasn't liked him since the Phantom Menace.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
So what do you think, Cole?
Revenge of the Sith is where I think that the prequels really hit their stride. Which is sad because it's the end of the prequels.
Yep.
However, I think that if anyone was ever going to develop the formula for a Star Wars movie, not that that can be done necessarily, but take a look at Revenge of the Sith, because pretty much everything in this movie is done right, I'd say. For once, the politics feel like they matter in the story more than just here's a lot of exposition and background. This is the culmination of all the events that the two previous movies have been setting up. And it's great because there is not a moment of downtime in the movie. It's great because you feel engaged with the circumstances at every point in time, and you have a relationship with each character that's unique from every previous film. I think that every character is really memorable because each of them goes through their own character arc in a way that we haven't seen in the previous Star Wars prequels. George Lucas finally learns how to show instead of tell, and for that he's greatly rewarded, because this whole movie, I mean, Lizzie had mentioned, you know the end, but you have this feeling that maybe something can go different this time, because you can see the inner monologue of the characters as they play out, which is something that we haven't seen before in these Star Wars prequels. I think that everything that happens in this movie is incredibly significant for the story that happens later, and I think that this is truly the peak of the latter Star Wars cinematic universe.
Well said. I agree with most of those parts. I genuinely like Revenge of the Sith. I have some problems with it. Not
Major.
I mean, they're not major problems, but they're
Just
not.
nitpicking?
They're not, minute to the point where it's me nitpicking. I think Anakin's turn to the dark side could have been better. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think killing Dooku was unnecessary because I just didn't think Anakin. The other two movies didn't really support Palpatine being a father figure. Like, Palpatine talked to Anakin how many times in the first two movies?
Yeah.
And
Like,
that one
didn't
was
even
just like,
acknowledge
you're
him
gonna
in
be- You're gonna
Phantom.
be something great. I can feel it.
Yeah, and then
Or something.
in
We
the
will take your kitty.
yeah, and then
the
like in the
consideration.
second one, like I don't even remember. Like, he has like one scene with Anakin, but like in no way, shape, or form. Like, if Obi-Wan, obviously that wouldn't make sense, but if Obi-Wan said to kill Count Dooku, and then that whole thing, that would make sense because Obi-Wan has been training him, so he
But you
kind
don't
of would
see Palpatine.
Yeah, I don't
as
see
close.
Palpatine as like this father figure that Anakin was
Well,
saying.
he's just trying to corrupt him because.
Yeah, but
Not
I
that
thought
we-
that,
not
was
that we knew that
extremely
he was
weak corruption
that
because all he did
powerful.
was just do it.
Well,
That's
what-
it.
what's-
And he was like, oh, okay.
What's really nice, though, in the relationship section that you're talking about, is that we finally get a glimpse at how how intimate the relationship between Jedi Master and Padawan is.
Yes.
With the heartbreaking, not really monologue, but lines that Obi-Wan delivers.
Oh, yeah,
at the
absolutely.
end. Because, I mean, one of my biggest critiques is that I've always wanted to see more of what it's like to have a Padawan-Jedi Master relationship.
Yeah.
That was the second time I cried in the movie.
No, I completely agree. I think that's what annoys me, though. My other problem is that I thought Anakin flipped on Obi-Wan way too quick. Like, he immediately, like, right when he was talking to Padme and, like, had that, like, vision or premonition, whatever, and, like, he was like, oh, Obi-Wan was here? And started getting, like, jealous and stuff, and, like, I don't know, there was no conflict.
When he calls him a liar?
Well, that
No,
too.
this is
Like,
when
he
they're at the
immediately...
house.
Well, yeah, and then he immediately sees Obi-Wan and the whole thing that if you're not with me, you're my enemy thing. It just seemed way too fast because earlier in the movie, Anakin straight up refused to leave Obi-Wan and said that we would have the same fate he has. So if we all die because I tried to save him, yeah, we'll all die. I'm fine with that. And had no problem giving his life to save his master. But then towards the end, suddenly, even when their last altercation or their last conversation between each other was Obi-Wan specifically saying that you are wise, you are powerful, and you are so much more powerful as a Jedi than I could ever aspire to be. He's like, be patient. He's like, I'm on your side.
And I'm pretty sure Anakin
extremely
says something
At one
supportive.
point, he's like, they're gonna rank you up to master soon.
Yeah, that was the
You know what I
last
mean?
time they talked
And I
to
was
each other.
like,
That's
wow,
why
like,
it
that's
frustrates
a good
me.
reassurance to him
Yeah.
to make him feel like, oh, maybe I should just be patient. Maybe
Exactly.
I should just.
And
Like,
Anakin
that's why
even
it frustrates
says
me.
he's grateful, or like he never said to Obi-Wan before how
Well,
grateful
yeah, he
he was.
apologized to Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan has that whole thing about how much he cares for Anakin and that he is on his side. He didn't want Anakin to
that gives
be
you
a spy.
hope,
Exactly,
you know?
but that's what annoys me so much is that right when Obi-Wan leaves, it's all of a sudden it seems like that emotion and that like relationship that they had was completely null and void.
Yeah.
And immediately the only thing that he cared about was Padme, which I completely disagree with because the two people he would care about most are Obi-Wan and Padme. But it was almost like Obi-Wan started becoming a problem immediately, which
He was trying to stop him from becoming
that
evil.
bothers me.
Well,
I think there should have been so much more hesitation with Anakin fighting Obi-Wan than like because when Palpatine says too, when he's like, even your friend Obi-Wan has turned against us, there was like no like I don't know emotion or like reaction to that like there wasn't like a maybe he can join us because I mean Vader and Empire Vader and Empire is like when he hears about Anakin about Luke Skywalker being the son of Anakin and he goes how's that possible and he's like and Palpatine's like we gotta get rid of him and he's like but and then Vader comes around and he's like but if he can be turned like he has like this shred of hope that he doesn't want to like lose his son. I was really hoping that Anakin some way somehow would be like but what if we try to help Obi-Wan or have Obi-Wan come to us. I thought his flip was way too fast.
I just think that Obi-Wan I think his mindset Anakin's mindset about Obi-Wan is that Obi-Wan was going to try to make him like stay with them and not go to the dark side, but when in reality he's going to the dark side because he wants to save Padme. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't even hear you say that.
Oh.
I did.
But I think it's
get
all
that.
about his motivation. Like, that's what's motivating him to stay true and, like, go to the dark side is because of...
Yeah.
I mean, I get
But I
that,
understand
but
that
I
the
still
flip
don't
was too
understand
quick.
how, like, his flip was
I
so
think
fast.
his
I
love
agree
for
with
her
you,
is stronger.
Brendan. I agree with you, Brendan. But if I could just play devil's advocate, I think that if I could explain it, I would say that it seems like that it is Anakin's method of justifying his own actions by pushing Obi-Wan away faster because then he doesn't have to face the reality of his actions.
That could potentially...
Yeah.
That is a good point as well.
Yeah.
However,
but I wish we
that
saw
doesn't take
that,
away
though.
from me wanting
Yeah.
to see it.
Like, I
Yeah,
would like
yeah.
to see that. Like,
But sometimes it's just the
like
easier route.
if it was like an extreme close-up or a close-up of Anakin right when Palpatine says even your friend Obi-Wan and Anakin like I don't know what reaction he would have like maybe if he like sits there and is like he's sitting there and he kind of like he's having this almost like inner monologue in his head. And that scene, actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Anakin is in the council chambers and Padme is at her house, and they're both looking out into the city, and they're both thinking about what's happening. You know, they're both having these inner monologues, and you know exactly what they're thinking. Anakin doesn't want to go through with doing all this. Padme is sitting here, and she feels like she's losing Anakin, and he's becoming more and more distant. So you have this, like, you know, these inner conflicts between the two characters, and, like, there's, like, no music, there's no dialogue at all, and all you see, it's all you need to see. It's conveyed in their eyes, and, you know, their facial expressions for all that. I love that stuff.
They should have did that more.
I wish they did that more in terms of Anakin, because immediately, all of a sudden, he kills Mace Windu, is immediately like, Master, yes, thank you, Master, yes, Master, thank you. And
it's
like,
hard
what
to
other
see
choice
what
does he
Anakin's
have?
thinking.
He just killed a leading member of the
I
Jedi
get
Council.
that, but I feel like there should have been more conflict in him than, what have I done? And then immediately 5 seconds later,
So you wanted
thank you,
to
Master.
hear more of
I just wish that there was more of an inner conflict with Anakin.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I really like Anakin in this movie. I really, there are a couple lines that I don't think were delivered right, but that isn't because of the actor's skills. I think it's because of the writing, because even Ewan McGregor had some lines that I still don't like. I've seen a security hologram of Anakin killing younglings. And, like, I don't like that one.
Snitch.
I don't like when he's like, I can't watch anymore. Like, I don't know, just some lines just don't seem right.
And Yoda's just chilling there, like,
Exactly. And, like,
say a thing.
I don't know, it just,
Well,
He warned
Yoda
him.
warned him.
yeah.
He's like, it's gonna hurt
Like,
you more
certain,
than anything.
certain things, like, bug me
He knew
in
from the
regards to
start.
that stuff,
Yoda
but
knew all along.
yeah, but the lightsaber fight's awesome. Order 66 is probably one of the best moments in the entire
oh my
series.
God. I didn't
Order
even
66
talk about
hit
that.
me. Like, because I don't know, like, you don't know these Jedi at all. Like, you really don't. I mean, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, which I'm starting to get into them more, and I have been watching them, so, you know, of course, I see Plo Koon, and I see Kit Fisto, and I see Ki-Adi-Mundi, and I see all these characters that, you know, were minor roles in you know, Revenge of the Sith, but watching them all just get wiped out mercilessly with, like, out of second thought, these people who are, like, you know, they're revered as, like, the good guys, and you're seeing them get completely devastated to the point where they can't come back, and you're just watching you're watching young Padawans get shot up mercilessly. You're seeing, you know, these Jedi Masters, one of the standout ones being Ki-Adi-Mundi, when he's like, come on, and he's charging in, and you see the stormtroopers' boots, and they stop, and he turns around and feels it, and he turns around and he realizes, like, what's going on here? And when you see them all lift up their guns, like, you I don't know, it's just like, it's hit
palpable.
me. And, like, when Yoda,
it's
like,
just...
sits there, and he drops his cane, and he feels it too, like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it's like,
It's
I
so
felt
sudden.
that too, and I thought it was the music. Oh my God, John Williams, you flipping masterclass of a composer. Amazing. The whole beginning fight scene with all the music, awesome. Anakin vs. Obi-Wan, one of my favorite tracks in the entire Star Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
Everything, like, in terms of an endpoint for things like, you know, how did Anakin and Obi-Wan's fight go? That was a perfect way to show it, how it happened. Because, you know, in A New Hope, the whole, like, the last we met, I was supposed to learn to know I am the master, and, like, and, you know that there was a fight between them, and you want to see it, and I think it lived up to its expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Sidious and Yoda, yes, it's kind of boring, but unfortunately, I think that's just because they're so painfully even. Like, that's it. Like, Palpatine shoots a bunch of... Palpatine just shoots a bunch of lightning, and Yoda just eats it, and it's like, and, like, there's a close-up of his face, and, like they're just painfully even, so there's really not many, you know, there's not too much at stake, because you already know that both of them are in the original trilogy, so it's not.
Order 66. I agree completely that it was probably one of the best moments ever. Because you're over there like, oh crap, everything's going bad, can't get worse. And then you're like, holy it got way worse.
And the younglings
Everything's
get
turning against
slaughtered.
each other.
Alright, that's
It's
kind of
just-
funny, though.
It'd be hard to suspect that the clone army that was made for them would turn their backs on
It
them
was
in a
the
second.
craziest
Yeah.
feeling.
like-
Because you're like,
yeah.
all hope is gone.
And you had that scene too when
It's-
Obi-Wan's talking to Cody, and
They're,
he's like,
they're
he's
friends.
like, I'll make sure to save some droids for you. And he's like, oh, have I ever let you down, sir? And they're like, and he's like, here's your lightsaber. And he's like, thank you, Cody. And
Yeah,
just, like,
you don't
runs up.
expect it.
Shoot
Yeah.
him down.
And then
At
out of
all.
nowhere, blast them. Just,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And seeing the different scenes of them turning, it's just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
insane.
I think Clone Wars builds us up a lot better than what... Like, if you watched the first 2 movies, all of Clone Wars, and then...
Then Revenge of the Sith, it would be a lot better, yeah.
Yeah, because you would have attachment to a lot of the clones.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah. And you'd be like, wow, they were friends, and one arc in the show shows this, and the issues with that, and what could be, and I just like that.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong, there is a lot to like in this movie. Like, honestly,
There's too
like,
much.
genuinely a lot to like. There are just some things that kind of irk me and keep me from giving it a 10 or a 9. I also think Palpatine was way too obvious in this movie. Like, they weren't even remotely concerned that the Chancellor was, like, captured, but he was sitting comfortably in a chair with, like,
He was in
minor
the
restraints.
throne room.
Like,
Didn't wanna
yes,
harm
I know,
him.
I know, but, like, it seemed a little too, like, clean.
Plus no
And then-
guards.
And, like, how many scenes were in Revenge of the Sith where, like, Mace Windu was like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi, and, like, Obi-Wan's like, don't trust Palpatine. Like, so many of them didn't trust Palpatine.
Well, I think
So,
it was,
like, there
it was
wasn't,
back-
like,
I would think it was the fact that he was still,
But
he was
this
still in
too, though-
office after he wasn't supposed to be.
This too, the security hologram that was clearly in Palpatine's office.
Yeah.
If they really wanted to spy on him, couldn't they theoretically at any
Look
point
at it
look
more.
at the security
Yeah.
holograms, and if he's like making a call and he's like, we must accelerate our plans,
Looking
and like,
at
oh,
Or if he puts
okay.
on a cloak and, like-
Sith Lord,
Yeah.
guarded by the clones.
Oh,
that are
no,
loyal
Sith
to
Locks
Lord.
his
Palpatine.
door.
True, but that, I mean, clone troopers, if they really had a sneaking suspicion that a Sith Lord was running the Senate, I feel like a couple Jedi mind tricks or some Force moves or something would have warded off the clones easy, and they could have found out immediately.
Yeah, but then that.
But
then
then
that
again,
movie.
the
but
whole
yes, that's true.
insurrection
But that
and-
being said, it also makes it even more frustrating, but in like a good way. Because, again, Yoda points this out in the second one, that Padawans are becoming more and more, competent, more, kind of cocky, self-centered, like, they're too,
But if the whole
they
council
believe too much. But that's what I'm
didn't
saying, though. The only reason why the
like him.
Padawans are so friggin' determined and, cocky and all that stuff and arrogant, it's because the masters are all complacent. They've been sitting in their chairs for years.
Yep.
Yoda's been running the Jedi Order for hundreds of years. And they're sitting there and they're like, yeah, they ain't no Sith. What are you guys talking about? You guys are silly. So when they get the slightest suspicion that one crooked politician is making these really odd moves,
Anakin,
they're too-
believe that.
yeah, they're too blind to see it, and it makes it really
Ay-yi-yi.
frustrating. But then again,
So frustrating.
it's kind of like a good thing, though. It's like a good frustration.
No.
Because yes, it seems it seems painfully obvious, but that's what
It's
makes it a
painful.
tragedy. That's
It's
what makes it a
painful to
tragedy.
see Anakin
Because
just
if
not believe them.
Anakin had just stayed in the council chambers, everything would have been different. If Anakin went with Obi-Wan to fight Grievous, everything would have been different. If they
Everyone
found
went
out
with Yoda.
if they found out Palpatine was a Sith Lord earlier, everything would have been different. It's sad because it's similar to like Romeo and Juliet, where like one tiny
He
little
was the
detail,
chosen one.
yeah, one minute little detail can alter the entire course of history. If just one thing was just in
Butterfly
place,
effect.
everything would have been fine.
Domino
But
effect.
but yeah, it's
Butterfly
just
effect.
it's really interesting to see that, and that makes me like it more. But then I also get mad at the Jedi because it's like, you guys are all powerful wizards, bringing it back, and they don't know because they're too arrogant. They think that the Jedi are way too high in power and that they're sitting on their pretty palace in Coruscant. They have a clone army.
It's been 1,000
Dooku's
years
dead,
since a
Maul's
Sith
dead.
was seen.
Yeah, so like they under the impression that theoretically, because there's always two, there are a master and
There's-
apprentice. Maul dies
There's
next,
always
and
two
then
there.
Dooku dies. So then they're under the impression, hey,
They mentioned
we got the two.
They mentioned that Yoda was talking about when Mace Windu said who lost, the master or the apprentice?
Yeah. So then, of course, when Dooku dies in the third movie,
You're
I mean, it would be
wondering
fair
who
to
done.
understand that. Okay, I guess we took care of all the Sith Lords.
Yeah, and Dooku on
Yeah.
his face, you saw his face like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
This isn't the plan.
See, yeah, if Dooku just said that Palpatine was the Sith Lord, I mean, yeah, Anakin probably wouldn't believe him or whatever, but like, it would probably be one of those things where like, yeah, I don't believe you, Dooku, kills him, whatever, but that thought would still be in the back of his head. Like, he'd, maybe pay attention to Palpatine's actions more, like, that's odd.
Realize he's
Maybe Dooku was
complimenting
telling the
him to
truth.
get
And if he
him.
mentioned it to Obi-Wan, if Anakin was like,
The
before I
Jedi
killed
Council would've known
Dooku,
about
that
it right away.
yeah, before I killed Dooku, he said that the Chancellor was a Sith Lord, and then Obi-Wan could easily
They
be
would've
like,
went right
oh,
what
that's
they-
weird.
they would've
He
went
told
right
me.
I wish he told
Yeah.
Obi-Wan more.
He told me that on Geonosis, and like, that's what's so good is that the tragedy is that they had so many hints to the point where Palpatine literally just basically had to come out and say it to Anakin.
Yeah.
He literally was just like he had all these subtle hints, like, not from a Jedi. You really did. Jesus Christ. And then the next scene, he's like, I'm a Sith
the dark
Lord.
side.
And then Anakin's like, you're the Sith Lord. And Palpatine's like, Jesus, finally.
1, 2,
Brings out his lightsaber,
oh!
so you're the Sith Lord we've been
Exactly.
looking for.
like I love how when he's like
Lords are
yeah, when he's like, do it, and then you think I'm okay? It just went over his head. Jesus, Anakin! Oh my God, I have to write it on
He
the
is in
sign.
so many.
And then there were a couple of times at that point, Palpatine was just getting like cocky and like joking around the whole time. He's just sitting here like, I'm a Sith Lord. Oh, did you hear? Someone hear that? Oh, no, they're too stupid to see it. Oh man, almost got me that time. And then like I feel like if I was Palpatine, I'd start like walking around with my Sith robe on, and if no
He
one
did
noticed,
that.
I'd be like, okay.
Well,
Like,
didn't he?
new fashion trend, a black hood. It's
He
great,
said
right, guys?
he was like scarred or whatever.
What if Palpatine tripped and like his lightsaber fell out? Everyone would be like,
Oops.
they would be
He
like,
basically was
my
like,
bad.
I look ugly.
It's a paperweight. Oops.
Wait, what did he say when he was talking to everyone?
The attempt on my life
Has left me scarred and
He's basically saying, I'm ugly and I might look different. Don't mind me. I'm not the Sith Lord.
But yeah,
or anything.
I just love that Palpatine
Like, how did he not
basically
put
had
that
to spell
together?
it out, and the Jedi were too arrogant to see that the one running the Senate was the Sith Lord all along. So like, it makes you like the movie a lot when you think about it that way. So like, my problems aren't necessarily like my main problems that I still, like I said, bogged down is the whole like Anakin just neglecting Obi-Wan way too quick, in my opinion, not having a facial reaction anyway of that. But that's like my personal like complaint.
Wait.
That's really it though.
Going
I mean,
back
I don't
on
really have a
Palpatine,
problem.
do you think they wanted the audience to know who Palpatine was?
Everyone
we
knew who
knew
Palpatine
since
was
the
since
Phantom
Phantom.
Menace.
It was very clear
Yeah.
because he sounded like him, and
I
everyone
guess.
knew who the
Literally
actor
I
was.
guess.
Like him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they didn't make it.
they made it pretty obvious.
I know, but
I don't
like,
think they made it too
They
obvious.
didn't
Some
literally like have
stupid
him
people
close
could've
the
missed
door, put the
Yeah.
hood on, and like talk to Maul.
some people could have missed it.
It wasn't until, like he said
It
in the
wasn't-
second one,
the
when
only
we started
way-
seeing
see-
the holograms of him with the hood
No,
and him going,
Yeah, but you don't see.
like,
You
that's
don't
when he-
see Palpatine like walk
I
out.
feel like if
and
you
don't
never
see
saw
him,
the
like,
original trilogy,
Then
it'd
yes.
probably surprise you.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, it surprised me when I was younger because I didn't see the original trilogy first. I ended up
Yeah, if
seeing.
you're a little kid.
Yeah, I
It's
saw
supposed
Revenge
to
of the
be-
Sith first out of the other. I didn't watch the other two. But, like,
Fair.
watching this guy who, like, in my mind, I was like, so these two kind Jedi rescue the Chancellor and then he goes and kills them all. That's rude. Like that's how I saw. Like, a very simple, like, black and white situation where it's
Only a
just like.
Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And, like, and, you know, we're all talking about it. There's a lot to talk about.
There's
like,
too much to
Not
talk
finished.
and exactly.
Oh,
like,
boy.
we just
Here we
have
go.
all these, like, hints and stuff that could easily point to Palpatine being a Sith Lord, but they're too cocky and arrogant to realize it. And you don't want them to be cocky and arrogant because you love the Jedi.
But they don't straight up show Palpatine being this, like, Never mind.
I'm kidding.
No,
What?
they don't show like. They don't make it as obvious as you think because
I
when I
heavily
I
disagree.
figured it out as a kid.
Because of the
I'm
bad
saying you don't
writing
see-
easily.
you don't
Um,
see him go
do it.
leave and
Leave
put
us.
Yes, yeah.
on. You know what I mean?
The only
They're
thing
they're
that can-
hoping that you catch
Visually, no. Like, visually, no. But, like, just
I mean,
catching a clue with
Larry,
With
this
his
voice
voice.
at
Whole,
his
like,
chin.
voice, yeah.
that really stood out. I mean, and the way he talks, where he's like,
it. Well, when I
where
was
he's
a
like,
kid, I
love
didn't catch it.
democracy.
Okay.
I love the Republic. And then, like, the next scene, like, obviously it's not the same movie, but when he was like, we must accelerate our plans. And in Attack of the Clones, when he's talking to Dooku, you see his eyes and his face. Like, you very clearly know it's Palpatine.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
he's like in person. In
Yeah,
the
and he
black
turns
robes,
around,
that's-
you see his
Well, I
entire
mean,
face.
even in the
like,
first one, when he
It's on the
wasn't
hologram.
when
You
he
can
wasn't
tell.
the senator,
Yeah.
when he wasn't the senator yet in the first one, and then he was like, you know, you need to push for a vote of what was it?
No confidence.
For no confidence or
Chancellor
whatever.
Valor.
We need to get someone in there with real power or whatever. And then like the next scene is like, aha, they voted me in. It's not what I wanted, but I'm here and I'm gonna do great. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like that's what he wanted and that's what he was gonna do.
So how are we feeling about this movie? Can we come to a consensus for a number?
Consensus, no.
Solid.
Individual, yes.
individual scores. So what would you say then, Tyler? What would you
Solid 9.
Understandable. I respect
Just
that.
a few things holding me back from a 10. There's nothing I dislike. There's just, some of the things, whether it was acting, which, like I said, I kind of got used to it, and that's why I'm not judging it too harsh on that.
It's the
But
way
overall-
Anakin was. Just accept
Overall, a 9.
All right.
Enjoyed every aspect.
And what about you, Dominic?
8.5 or 9. I really liked it. There was very few down points in it. It didn't seem boring at all. The like we were saying, the only part is Anakin turning so fast. It's like, what have I done?
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you say to me, Master. In the second.
The way you said that.
I'll do ever.
Wait.
It reminds me of that video I sent in the chat where it's like, I'm not a baby boy, I'm a manly
I'm a
man. Did you see the video I sent in the chat?
Oh my
I'll do
god.
whatever you tell me to.
Oh,
Relationship with Wookiees I have. Must go, I will. That just sounds like words to me. You're not making any sense. Anakin, stop judging Yoda. God, that's another thing. I love the memes that come out of this. Like, this movie's really good, but the memes are hilarious too.
Yup.
So what are your what's your score, Lizzie, of Revenge of the Sith?
10 out of 10.
Damn.
I don't know. I just felt so much
High
emotion.
praise.
I felt so much emotion during the whole entire thing. I was on the edge
Understandable.
of my seat the whole time. I am constantly upset with the way Anakin is just becoming, and I don't know. It's a good upset.
I get that. That's understandable. So what do you think, TJ, even though all of us know your score?
Yeah, it's gonna be a 1 from me, guys. Worst Star Wars movie ever made. Worst movie in general.
I'll admit, you got me. I thought you were going to give it a 10. Wow.
Well, actually, Brendan,
shook.
you're right. Because it's actually a 10. My
A
favorite movie of all time. Favorite Star...
To be fair, that's just because you haven't seen enough.
Favorite
movies.
Star Wars?
What was that? What was that, Brendan?
I was nothing.
Oh, yeah, I tell you right now, no matter how many movies I see, it's not changing.
Bruh, I mean, I don't know.
And
I
can
love
we just
Revenge of the
mention
Sith. No,
Okay.
we can't.
Hayden?
No, we can't.
Hayden
No, you don't need to say this.
Woo! Hot.
Oh god. Okay.
Literally on fire.
This is why we can't. Yeah.
Burning.
Revenge of the Sith. Love every moment. Engaged the entire time. Best Star Wars movie ever.
Bold. Which is funny, because you gave Empire the same score, so technically it's a toss-up between the two.
No.
Well,
So Empire will always just be your second one?
Yes.
By, like, a really close? Really close? Like, just a little now?
A little larger.
I haven't seen Empire, so
it's the best one. What are you doing?
We just
I
watched
prefer
this.
prequels
No,
than originals.
Empire is the best one.
I'm sorry, Revenge of the
Regardless.
Sith.
Regardless. All right. What is your score, Cole? I'm curious.
Revenge of the Sith is by far the best of the prequel movies, and it is a genuinely very good Star Wars movie. As a work of cinema, I give it a solid 7.
I was ready. I got it. Nice.
They were all trying to guess my score.
Yes.
I stand by my 7. I think that
A
it is a very great
7.
film. I think that it pushes the
7 is
boundary
a
of
good
what it means
score.
to
You
be
hurt me, Cole.
7 is a good score.
You hurt me.
I think it
A
pushes
7
the
is
boundaries
good.
of what a Star Wars movie could be, and I think there's still a very long way to go, and I think that Empire is my favorite.
And
I know I'm
Thank you.
definitely
I
biased
respect that.
because I watched the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I mean, the Clone Wars is great. Don't get me wrong, but this is the first prequel that you and I don't have the same score.
Ah.
I'm giving it a 6.
Ooh,
I'm just
one
kidding.
more
No,
down.
I'm not giving it a
Oh.
6. No.
Kill you.
No,
He's giving it higher than that.
I'm genuinely, like, after thinking about the whole thing, valid points. But I don't think it goes down to a 7. I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah.
I
That's very
think
fair.
the
I knew
movie
that
has
was
some seriously good character moments, aka everything Anakin and Obi-Wan.
I agree.
Everything Anakin and Sidious, except for like that one little part that's just my own personal pet peeve. But that Darth Plagueis scene, amazing.
Plagueis?
Aside from the meme of it being a meme, I genuinely think it's a great scene because Palpatine is basically spelling out to him, "Yeah, I'm the Sith Lord." What makes you think a Chancellor knows anything about Sith Lords? Like, bruh, I'm the Sith. Okay, he still doesn't get it. Okay, so I also think that's kind of funny. But lightsaber fights are some of the best in the series. To be fair, I mean, it's kind of hard because this one has the most lightsaber battles in the series, so, you know,
there's so much.
there's like 3 in the original trilogy, and then 1 in the sequel trilogy, because I'm not counting the throne room, because that's not a lightsaber fight.
Nope.
No, it's not.
They're not using
alright, I see.
lightsabers.
It's not. Kylo Ren and Rey, that's a lightsaber
That's a whole
fight.
nother story.
But, you know,
Whole
yeah.
Wars story.
But no, I genuinely like Revenge of the Sith, and it is probably my third favorite in the Skywalker series. It is hands down my third favorite. First one being Empire Strikes
What's your
Back,
second?
second one being A New Hope, and third one being
Wow,
Revenge of
New
the
like
Hope
Sith.
A New
just
Hope
took that
over-
place.
yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I do like A New Hope.
That's recent.
Because
that is
of
a recent change in
because of that specifically. No, it's the reason why I like New Hope more than Revenge of the Sith, because I think the chemistry between the actual main characters is infinitely better than all the other characters. That being said, though, Anakin and Obi-Wan, top tier, hands down.
Luke
But-
tried to fuck his sister.
Okay, and with
Okay.
that, we're going
Yay.
to say goodnight and good
Yeah.
luck.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like what you saw here, we have plenty of other videos. We also have the original trilogy discussion already out. If you guys like what you saw here, like, comment, subscribe. What do you guys think of the prequels? Do you like them, hate them, think they are absolute garbage, think they are the best in the Star Wars series? Let us know. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.